just knew like it's gonna be hard, and we just need to be there to support Cheyenne through everything.
I love you.
I love you.
I'm Cheyenne Hernandez. I'm 25 years old, originally from Miami, Florida, and I have been diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. I remember being 16 years old. I was sitting in my language arts class and I was slouched over in my desk. My breasts were up against the trim of the desk, and I just remember feeling like this really intense pain. Later on that day, I ended up getting home and I did a breast exam on myself and I found a lump. So automatically I'm freaking out. I told my mom. She ended up taking me to the doctor's office and they diagnosed me with a fibroadenoma. So a fibroadenoma is actually a very common diagnosis. I believe 1 out of every 4 women will have a fibroadenoma with their lifespan. So it's basically a benign lump in the breast. It feeds off of hormones, so you're more likely to notice it around your cycle. But as I said, it's benign, it's nothing to be concerned about. So for the last 9 years, my fibroadenoma was basically just dormant. However, 2019, I remember just noticing that it was growing. And not only that it was growing, but the throbbing sensation that I had initially felt when I discovered it had come back, and it had came back much more frequently. And so I decided just to go back in, get a checkup. I live in Miami right now, and it is extremely overpopulated. A doctor's appointment can take up to 1 month before you're able to see a doctor. So I decided to go in to see an urgent care doctor, and upon them examining me, he was automatically just freaked out. It was a very hard, dense tumor. It was pretty big, and he just wanted me to get imaging done as soon as possible. By the time that I was getting in to see the technician for the imaging, my original appointment that I had set with my gyno had come about. So I decided to postpone that and just proceed with her. When I first met with her, she was very nonchalant about it. This is something that can be just, changed with my diet. And so at first I was just like, okay, that makes sense, let me try this. However, I still want to kind of go further with this. And she agreed to send me or recommend me to go see a specialist. Yet again, that appointment was about 2 months from the time that I had initially met with her. And so if it was up to her, honestly, I would just went home and Lord knows what would have happened next. By this point, I was pretty fed up with it, and I knew that this was not the only doctor in Miami, so I decided to just do my own research. I ended up finding another doctor. I booked an appointment with them, and within probably about a week, I was able to see a doctor. So the doctor that I actually found was at a breast cancer clinic. So initially walking in, I don't know, I felt, I don't want to say jinxing myself, but I definitely felt discomfort being in that clinic. Everyone in the office had been diagnosed with cancer. Initially I went in and my thought process was that this is fibroadenoma, nothing to be concerned about. I really don't belong in this office. Our first meeting with the doctor was basically an exam, and then she went into the specifics of what it was that I was dealing with. So my doctor explained to me that within a fibroadenoma at this range, it was very, very, very unlikely that they can grow into something malignant. However, that was a possibility, and because of that possibility, it was procedure to do a biopsy. My next appointment was to do a biopsy. They numbed my breast. They took 4 samples, but about 4 days after I did my biopsy, I ended up getting a call while I was at work. I remember it was about 3 o'clock. I got off work at 5. So I got a call, stepped out of the office for a second, and I remember the doctor just saying, "I'm sorry to inform you, but the results came back as malignant. At first, I honestly just like, I understood what she was saying, but I guess I didn't receive it. Like, I wasn't receptive. I ended up calling my mom. I let her know. I think she was still in shock also. I don't think it hit her. But I went back into the office, sat down, and then about an hour, I was like, right. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what this meant, but I know that it was cancer, and I know that all I was thinking at that moment was like death. Like I can die.
Did the radiologist team tell you what the biopsy showed? So it unfortunately showed cancer. The next step is we need to get imaging of this area to confirm that there isn't anything else. The good news is that the tumor markers, so every type of cancer expresses certain markers. They look at estrogen, progesterone, and Herceptin, and yours have a favorable marker profile.
Okay.
So it means that we have ways to treat this, obviously, if needed, afterwards as well. So the main thing with the MRI is that it's going to help me see if there's anything going on in the lymph nodes. And I don't suspect there is because they didn't see anything on the ultrasound, which is good. But the mammogram doesn't give us a good picture of the lymph nodes, so the MRI helps us the most.
Okay.
And then after that, we will determine the surgical options versus the chemotherapy options. So usually when there is breast cancer that's larger than a centimeter, there's chemotherapy at some point in the process. It's either before surgery or after surgery. And the way we decide that is dependent on if we see any lymph nodes, then we usually give it before surgery. Or if you have a preference in the type of surgery that you want. So right now, given the size of the tumor in the breast, we would remove the breast, and then you would have the option for reconstruction. Or if we can shrink it with the chemotherapy, sometimes we can shrink it enough so that you only need that area removed of the breast, part of the breast removed. And then we do radiation to the breast afterwards.
Okay.
It's a lot of information, and I will repeat it as many times as you need me to. In younger women, we do sometimes, and it's completely up to you, and we have different ways to do this. We would recommend even potentially doing a bilateral mastectomy, which means removing both of the breasts, but we could even delay that till after, we could delay doing a surgery on the other side till after you have children, etc. And we have ways to monitor that breast.
What is the likelihood of it developing the other side?
It's about 1% per year. I would say, so you're going to live to be 100, at least. And so that's almost 70 years, right? So a little bit more. And then 1% per year is almost 70%, so that's pretty high. But we have we'll give you a type of medication after surgery that blocks hormones, and that will decrease it to about 35%. So it decreases it, but it's still.
When you say blocks hormones, how would that affect?
Yeah, so that we're gonna have you obviously see the medical oncologist who specializes in that, but you wouldn't be able to get pregnant during that period. Like, it does affect childbirth and everything during that period, but they will give you medications for fertility preservation. So there's many things they will do to help preserve fertility, and we can even talk about IVF. Like, basically, we have a fertility specialist, and they can talk to you about freezing your eggs. Like, there's many things we can do to help with that. No. I mean, it's a lot. Because currently, the only option would be removing the entire breast, the mastectomy. And then we would obviously discuss reconstruction with a plastic surgeon if that's something you were interested in, and it would happen the same time as the surgery. So I think in general, it'll still be a mastectomy, just given that it abuts the skin and the size of it, and the fact that with the tumor markers that you have, even though it means that it's not as aggressive as a cancer, it also doesn't respond as well to chemotherapy.
was diagnosed on October 31st, 2019, and I believe I had my doctor's appointment the following Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know, I feel like I'm still not very knowledgeable about everything that's coming, and in a sense I think I'm kind of protecting myself in that way. I'm just starting to step into adulthood, and being diagnosed with something like this, I just feels unfair. I have yet to truly live, and to know like almost everything that the average young woman dreams about is possibly going to be stripped from me before I can even get a taste of it. It's saddening. One thing I want to stress is that cancer doesn't have like an ideal candidate. I'm 25 years old. I'm healthy. I haven't ate meat in months. I abide by a pescatarian diet. Majority of my meals I try to aim to be like vegetarian-ish. I go to the gym. There is no face to cancer. There is no age range to cancer, and it's scary. I'm here with Crystal and Kai Kai. Hey baby. Hey chunky butt. Say hi to the people. But I am here for my follow-up. And now you want to say hi. So today we are going to be doing a mammogram. We're going to be doing a second biopsy of the lymph node, as well as the additional fibroadenoma that was found in my breast. And I think we're also doing an ultrasound. I don't know. There's a total of like 4 appointments for today. So I got here a bit late. So hopefully this doesn't take all that long. But yeah, just wanted to come in and check in. I will try my best to vlog as much of the appointments as I possibly can. It is Tuesday morning at around like 8. I don't even know, like 8:30 at this point. And we're just waiting to get called in, so yeah. Alright you guys, so we're at a little cafeteria. But I just finished with my appointment today. It was a lot. It was a bit intense. I'm not gonna lie, I got a bit emotional. It didn't hurt. The procedure does not hurt. They definitely do numb you prior to doing any incisions and whatnot, but it's just a lot. It's a lot on the psyche, you know. So just decided to get some lunch. I have the day off. I have a nice little personal day to myself today. So we are going to find Crystal some clothing. We're gonna get some clothes for Crystal, and then we're just gonna get breakfast. So we are at a nice little traditional Cuban spot here in Miami. Y'all, breakfast is freaking $3. $3.75. And then I just got pancakes for the extra $2. But yeah, I'll definitely come back and show you guys what Miami breakfast is all about. Hey guys, it's Cheyenne. I am in my room right now. Crystal actually just went to go say bye to a friend of hers before she leaves today. So I'm in the house alone, and I figured this is something that I have been wanting to film for quite some time now. My last doctor's appointment, which I did kind of do an update on, was this Tuesday, last Tuesday actually. And I did, like I said, a quick update after the appointment. However, you know, we went to go get some food, some breakfast, and I don't know. I think for me, I have a difficult time being vulnerable and being real about this situation when I'm amongst my family or just around people. You know, for me, like, I've always been the type of person that didn't want to inconvenience someone. I didn't want to have to put my problems and my issues on anyone else, because this world is consumed with negativity already. I don't want to be another source of all of that negativity. So that's just naturally how I've always been, and I don't feel like I was as open and honest with you guys about that appointment as I would like to be throughout this series. So I just wanted to kind of just come and re-update you guys, give you guys as much in-depth information as possible, and try my hardest to stay consistent with that same energy
moving forward. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of just piggyback off of some of the things that I was saying in that last clip. So let's just start from the beginning, I guess. So I went in at 8:20ish. Originally I think my appointment was like at 8:15. That morning was just chaotic, sorry. But lo and behold, I was told that I had additional appointments scheduled for that same day. So I actually had my first appointment at 7:55. However, like I said, I had no idea. Thankfully, they were able to get me in and do all of my procedures that same day, and they actually did it pretty quickly. So shout out to, you know, y'all for that. In total, I believe I had about 5 different procedures done that day. When you first come in, they ask you to remove any deodorant. If you're wearing any deodorant that day, they ask you to wipe it off. Then they ask you to just remove your clothing from the waist up. They give you a gown, put that on, and then you just wait in like the second waiting room. So that's all that we pretty much did. I believe I did film a clip in the waiting room after I had changed. Once that was done, I did a mammogram. I did a mammogram on both breasts, my right and my left, in case I didn't specify before. The mass is found in just my left breast. And basically what that is just a machine. They place your breasts in the machine. My boobs are pretty small, you guys. They're pretty small. I'm like a B cup. But they will manage to get that little tiny boob in that machine. And then they just like basically smash your breast. They then do like an x-ray like photo of your breast. They do that in a couple different positions. And then yeah, it's very uncomfortable. It can be a bit painful, to be quite honest. Especially the one where the mass was in. It was just super uncomfortable for me. But yeah, once that was done, they moved me into another room, and in that room I did a follow-up ultrasound. In my initial ultrasound, they noticed there was a second mass, and they also found my lymph node. My lymph node was a bit enlarged, but it was like borderline. They weren't too concerned about it. After I got the diagnosis back, they wanted to do a follow-up appointment on those 2 areas. I then did 2 more biopsies. They biopsied the second lump. They also biopsied the lymph node. And I believe after I was done with that, they had me do a soft mammogram, which is pretty much the same thing. They just don't squeeze and smush your breast as tightly. So 5 procedures within that time frame. I felt overwhelmed. Nothing about the procedures were intense. Like I had already gone through biopsy. Biopsies are not really painful. The only painful thing about it is when they're giving you the anesthesia. So it's a bit of a sting, I would say. So they had to do it twice. They numbed my breast itself and then under my armpit as well. So that was the most uncomfortable thing about it. Everything else was peachy keen. The mammogram was very uncomfortable as well, but nothing that I couldn't, you know, get through. I think I did get emotional, however, after the appointment, just simply because like it's a lot. And like I said, the clinic that I'm at is specifically a breast cancer clinic. I'm surrounded by cancer patients, and I'm doing all of this stuff, and it just kind of hits you like shit. Like I'm really going through this shit. I think it was just a lot. And I'm not gonna lie to you, every time I go to an appointment, I probably am not like boohoo crying. However, it does kind of hit me. Like it does kind of hit me. So just wanted to update you guys on that. Chris was back. So let's go do today's activities.